Hello, in this video we're going to talk about negotiating the best deal on a residential house purchase. Hi, this is Dave at TitleSearch.com. One of the things that we deal with quite a bit is clients who are looking at properties, wanting to buy properties, and we've created kind of a checklist, and some of it comes from my own personal experience in purchasing properties throughout the years. I've been involved with dozens and dozens of property purchases as a principal, talking millions of dollars in residential real estate, one at a time, not in bulk. And some things that have come up through the years for myself and some of our investor clients are some key ideas on getting a great deal on a house. First thing is, in your mind, never focus on there's only one property you can purchase. If you can imagine right now, if you're looking at properties and you think there's only this one perfect property, what are the chances that the one perfect property for you happens to be available at the exact time that you're shopping? There's always going to be a good property. If it's not that one, another one will show up, or there may be another one out there right now. So never lock into the fact there's one perfect property. There's always a great property. There's always another property, and that can be proven by the fact that if you're looking around and have been looking for a while, there's always going to be a really good house for you to buy. And we'll talk more about that as a factor as we go forward. Promise yourself that you're going to look at least dozens of properties online before you even walk inside any property. Look at the listings, look at the details, maybe make some notes on how much the real estate taxes are to get an idea of what the market is, square footage, locations. You can use Google Earth and Google Maps to kind of see where they fall in terms of what neighborhood they're in and what's behind them. Do that first. Look at dozens of properties online. Ideally, you look at 50 houses online before you even walk into one to get an idea of the market. Promise also to see at least 10 in person before you start negotiating on one, preferably 20. You can look in person at 10 properties or 20, even if one of them seems really great and that ends up being the one you buy, look at 10 others just for a point of comparison. Keep a spreadsheet and a pro and con list on each property as you look at it, even if you've already excluded it from consideration. Keep that property on your list, mark the pros and cons of it, make notes on why it is not a property you'd consider. You want to have that list for comparison later. It will help you when you start to negotiate or you start to consider that one key property. Also, take pictures at each showing. Even if it's a property you were excluded from consideration, don't just turn around and walk out. Look at the property in detail, look at the pros and cons. You may find features that you like that even though that property overall isn't worth considering, you may find other features within the property that are worth remembering at a later date to find something like it, or that appeals to you on a property that you would consider. Whatever you do while you're looking at properties, don't say anything during the showing about what you like or don't like, even to your own real estate agent. And this isn't to bash agents, but a lot of times if you find something you like on a property, that may have that agent steer you towards a property that has just that one thing and not consider a larger list that might be worth looking at. Use your best poker face. If they ask you if you like it, say, well, it's not bad, I'm not sure. Use something very generic, but don't say anything very specific about your likes and don't likes, and that may be counterproductive. A lot of realtors I know will want to know what you like or don't like. You can save that for a later time. At the time of the showing, keep that to yourself, make some notes, use that spreadsheet to compare properties. Don't let on also what your timeline is. If you have a certain deadline that you have to buy a house by, that's a bad thing to have somebody else know, because that will go against you in negotiations. An old Russian Soviet negotiating trick was when they had ambassadors coming to negotiate a treaty, first thing they want to find out is, when is your flight home? That's their deadline, and they would use that to kind of drag and delay up until that last day and then try to force a negotiation. This can happen even with your own agent. Unconsciously, they might let on to the other agent or to the seller, what your timeline is, and that might not work for you. By the same token, if you can't buy until a certain date, that might have your realtor not be as interested until that date gets soon, so don't let that on. When you are close to making an offer, don't narrow it down to one property. Even if you know that of the 20 properties you looked at, there's only one that you really want to buy, create at least one or two distraction properties, preferably that are cheaper, that you're going to have in that mix. Maybe even make an offer on one of those distraction properties, a low offer that gives your agent the realization that you're not narrowed down on one property. Even if it doesn't help that agent, that's going to be communicated to the seller's agent on the property you do want. that your agent's going to tell them, look, they already made another offer on another property. It wasn't accepted. They walked away. That's going to make you look like a serious buyer. If the only property you're negotiating on is the one that you want, that's going to be picked up on by the seller's agent. So if you have another property, put in a low offer with contingencies, a way you can cancel it, and then when that offer is not accepted, just walk away from the deal, so that when you go to the property you do want, your agent can say, hey, look, they already walked away from one property. They're not afraid of walking away from yours, so you better take this offer. In fact, this offer is even higher than it was on the other property. Those kind of things will help your agent go to bat for you and really sell for you when they can see what your actions are. So maybe make an offer on another property first, a cheaper one, a lower offer, so that way it kind of keeps you from getting pinned down to that one property. You may think that, is this wasting time? Is this wasting your agent's time? But you know what? This is your hard-earned money at stake. Even if you can save $5,000 off the price of the property you eventually buy, that represents 100 times going out to dinner. It might represent 2 years worth of car payments. It's a big deal. In the scheme of a $400,000 or $500,000 property, $5,000 might only be a percentage point or two, but it makes a big difference in your life having that money in your bank account versus the seller's bank account. And some of that might involve spending some extra time with your real estate agent, and they might have to spend more time putting offers on other properties, but they're earning a pretty good commission and they're out to help you. So that extra time should be valuable for you to save some money on that property. What about the risk of losing your dream property? Well, I can pretty much tell you that if you want to take an extra day or two to put an offer on another property, you're probably not going to lose the ideal property. And even if you do, there's always another one that will show up. Even if it takes a month or two later, there's always good properties coming on the market. And the risk of losing one over a couple days of some extra legwork is very minor in terms of what you can save in the long run. Hopefully these suggestions are helpful. Wish you the best of luck on negotiating the price on your next property. If we can help in any way, or if you want to get some background information on the seller or on the property history, such as liens, mortgages, we'd be glad to help you with a title search. Either way, best of luck with negotiating the best deal on your next house.